Okay, we're going live. We are live. Yeah, you can hear
Now
me?
we are live.
Yes, we are live. Welcome.
Oh, can you hear
Everything
me
okay?
again?
Yeah. No, we can hear you
Yeah.
fine.
Okay. And I think everybody else can hear us as well. So
Oh, now it's good. Now it's good.
um,
Sorry, it all my headphones disconnected when you hit the live button. So that's
Ah,
wonderful. Cool.
okay.
yeah.
Great. Okay.
It's all
Yeah.
good.
I love it.
Hey.
Hey. Okay. Hey.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for joining. I hope there are a lot of people on the YouTube channel. Because we are streaming now from StreamYard to YouTube. That's really great. So thank you for joining Thursday Frequency. Today we talk about edge delivery for AEM Forms. This is now available, and that's why we have great speakers, great experts on board. They will do a short introduction after that. The session will be recorded. That's very important. So most of the people will look at it later on. So yeah, I mean, let's go, Lars. Normally you're the one kick it off, then the discussion. So let's see.
Okay.
We're going to bring a party up here.
Oh, look at that. Look at this.
You guys
Okay.
hear me okay?
We can
Hi,
hear you.
Lars.
Wonderful, super.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Well, thanks for joining us for another Thursday frequency. And this is doubly exciting for me, to be honest. On the one hand, because we're going to see exciting new software that I've never seen before, and second, because we are now using StreamYard instead of Discord for streaming, which means for you should be able to see this live on YouTube. If you don't see it live on YouTube and you can still hear me, that means you're looking at the YouTube recording. So don't bother asking questions because we won't be able to hear them. But if you're live, you can ask them in the chat. Dominic and Ron are going to see them and repeat them. And that gives me now the opportunity to talk about our esteemed guests here. And I'm going to start from left to right. Arun, you're the first, and please tell us a bit about yourself and about the lovely setting you're sitting in.
The lovely setting is a virtual background, but I'll tell a little more about myself. I'm Arun. I lead product for AEM Forms here at Adobe. Been here for about 10 years and love the evolution Forms has gone through, and happy to share with you what we have been up to, all the way from on-premise to managed services to cloud services to now edge delivery services. So it's been an exciting journey, and we have a lot of cool exciting innovations to share with you today.
Okay.
Over to Varun, I guess. Sorry,
Yeah.
Lars, you will decide the order.
I was about to ask you a personal question, Arun, which is,
Sure.
what is the most exciting form that you filled out this week?
I think, I like to sign up for different libraries in my area,
Okay.
right? Because I love borrowing books from library and I like visiting. So anytime I'm filling a library sign up form, and now I'm trying to fill these through ChatGPT in an agentic way. So that has been sort of the fun form filling experience recently.
Yeah.
Instead of web, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. So next up is Varun. Great to see you, and I have to add a couple of words of introduction myself, because Varun and I are also working on our operational telemetry project, and I'm really excited to see Varun in person in a couple of weeks when I'm going to visit Noida for opt-in workshop. So Varun, great to see you here. Looking forward to seeing you in person. But please introduce yourself and what you do with forms.
Hi, Lars. Yeah, I'm also excited to meet you and Damien in October. So let's hope we do something great this time as well. Hi, my name is Varun, and I have been with AEM Forms for past 14 years now. So it started with the PDF forms earlier, and then the evolution from PDF forms. So I've been architecting that. From there, I've been designing the architecture of the PDF forms from to the web as well. So from mobile. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry for the background noise. Yeah, I have my daughter. She wanted to sleep, but yeah. So I have been uh, to adaptive form and then finally on its delivery. Uh,
Great.
Now I'm working mostly on the optimizer, the Adobe Sites optimizer for optimizing the form journey after it goes into production. And for that reason, I've been involved with operational telemetry
Okay.
to do that.
Great.
Yeah.
So, if the demos today go well, are you getting the praise or is Ravi going to get the praise?
Yeah, I think my daughter will get it.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
Fun.
credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
Great. Great to have you here, Varun and Ravi. Last but not least, please introduce yourself.
Ravi's is Ravi's not on camera.
Vijay.
VJ's on camera. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Hey, hi everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks Raj, for sharing us this platform where we can showcase. So let me tell about myself. So my name is Vijay, and I've been with Adobe for around 14 years now, and I've been working in last 14 years on AEM Forms itself. Most of you may not know, but forms, AEM Forms really does not mean only forms. It also has something called communication. So I've been lucky to work on both platform sites, adaptive form as well as communications. And recently I've been leading edge delivery services for AEM Forms. Now I also started looking at into GenAI aspects of AEM Forms. So I think some of the things we'll be seeing in today's demo, and hope it will be exciting for everyone.
Okay. Great. Do you want to kick it off with the demo, or do you first want to tell me about the most exciting form that you filled out this week?
That is income tax files return, because in India, this is the time where we have to fill out the IT returns. So yeah, quite a big form just filled, but luckily it pre-filled with a lot of documents which we already have. So I just need to provide it. And so that was a good start. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, then I would say let's dive into the demo.
Yeah, we have a few slides to share to kick it off, Lars.
Okay.
And I have the slides uploaded. This is my first time using this, so I'm going to try just hitting present, maybe.
Arun, I control all of this. So just when you're ready, let me know. And
so I have the slides uploaded.
There we go.
Okay, got it.
And
thanks.
And
thanks,
you know, we are all here for the demo, but I'm going to tolerate 1 or 2 slides.
Yeah. So we'll keep it super short. Vijay wanted me to set some context, so I'll be out of you guys' way very soon. We already introduced ourselves. This is going to be an edge delivery services demo, especially Universal Editor and how to set the boilerplate. AEM Forms helps you generate, activate, and optimize experiences just like AEM Sites does. So that's our story at AEM level. We want you to be able to author these forms very quickly using edge delivery services, Universal Editor, and also Form Experience Builder, which is a GenAI-based AI assistant to help you create forms. And you'll see a quick demo of that as well. And then once you have these forms created, being able to meet the users where they are, through omni-channel forms, conversational, multimodal forms, but also personalizing these experiences because we have these form data from lead gen forms that can easily hydrate user profile in RTCDP and can be used to personalize the rest of the journey. And then of course,
as the obligatory acronym expander here, RTCDP means real-time customer
data platform. Yes. Thank you, Lars. I know you don't like acronyms, so I should be careful. And then forms optimization to optimize these forms for opportunities to convert better, to engage with users better, to auto-detect, auto-identify, and auto-optimize these. changes that are required in forms for them to perform better.
Right.
And then just that can be broadly categorized into operational efficiencies in the inside of the organization, ease of authoring, automated workflows to automate business processes, and on the user side of things, like I said before, meeting them where they are through omni-channel experiences, and then also creating experiences that engage and optimized for conversion. We have a broad set of capabilities that I want to quickly highlight. We have omni-channel forms, which is the topic of this discussion on edge delivery services. We also have business process automation functionality through our automated workflows capability. Vijay talked about customer communications as one of his stints in the past. This is where you can generate statements and monthly newsletters and account statements in batch or on demand. And then, of course, we are investing heavily in Gen AI to allow you to create forms and optimize forms using Gen AI as well. And then we are deeply integrated with sites, as you will see in the demo today. What we have achieved through our integration with sites, both on cloud services and edge delivery services, is what we call unified composition with sites, where you can compose the web page and the form itself in the same editor. And again, we solve for all types of forms. Lars was putting us on the spot with what form you have filled this week, and it could have been any form with AEM Forms, right? It could have been a simple lead gen form, marketing form to contact or request for information. It could have been a full income tax form like Vijay filled, or a credit card application, bank account application, and so forth. And then, of course, we complete the loop with all these generated communications as well to stay in touch with the users.
Got
And
it.
with
So
that,
they-
I'm
so
going
they-
to pass it to Vijay for the demo.
Great.
Vijay,
Yeah.
over to you.
Thanks, Aaron. So let me, I think these are the slides you may be familiarized. I try to keep it as close to as possible. So in HDLV, what does actually forms add, right? So just these are the couple of things: a small form submission service. Once the form is submitted, where the data has to channel through, right? So that is one. And then we have some of the specific UI services which forms offers. So instead of going into more architecture, let's jump into C and see how forms can be created. So this is a boilerplate. I know we have boilerplate for crosswalk, doc-based authoring. Now we have a boilerplate for Dark Alley, and now we also have the boilerplate for forms. But forms is very simple. You just need to ensure you have a form block, which includes all the details like rule engines, which is lightweight rule engine as well as full-fledged rule engine. And these are the only block which is required, and maybe a couple of scripts specifically to ensure it works in rule editor. So these are the only two things different from what we see in typical site, difference from the sites and forms.
Yeah. And I have a question for you right away, which is your forms block looks a bit more complex than the standard fare that we have both in the boilerplate and in the block collection. So is this something that we expect customers to touch, modify, and extend, or is this better left alone?
It's actually better left alone, because customers should only touch on the components area. We provide a lot of out-of-the-box components, but if they want to introduce new components, I think one of the demo which I can show there. So that is where the components are required. Otherwise, they can just ignore all this. All should be sufficing any use case. This all, yeah.
Okay. So and my mental model would be correct when I would say every form is a block in edge delivery services, but
Yes.
a form consists of multiple components where basically every form field is a component of its own. Got it.
Yes, right. That's true. Yeah. So now today we will be focusing more on how to create a forms using a WYSIWYG authoring editor tool, which is universal editor. So if you are familiar with AEM, then this is the console you see typically, where you have all the solutions site, then you also have forms, and inside the forms again we have, as mentioned, forms and documents, and usually it's a forms and communication, right? And there you can go and create a form. So creating form starts with a wizard, usually we call it as, because there are multiple touch points to have a form ready. So let's start. The simple thing is template. How does the header and footer should looks like, or maybe what should be the branding of the form should. So it starts with template. And once I select the template, then I can also select the source. So if it is a simple lead gen form, you may not need any schema. But when I say complex forms where credit card application forms or maybe ITR filling forms, they already have a model available, right? So you can start with using a model. So for example, Salesforce, let's say in Salesforce, you have a lot of entities, contacts, leads, and you want to create a form which goes back directly to the Salesforce. So you can, and then you can also have been these connectors, we call it as connectors here. So it's keep on growing. The recently one added is Marketo and AEP. So you can just directly select the AEP, select the XTM, and then start creating the form. So that's the benefit of, you can bootstrap the form creation very easy. But
Right. And these data sets, are they read only, write only, or bidirectional? How should I imagine?
It's bidirectional. So you can select this data source, you can pre-fill from this data source, and you can submit back to this data source.
Okay. And if I'm using something more complex like Salesforce or Microsoft Dynamics, how much coding do I have to do on the Salesforce side? Do I have to hire a Salesforce consultant?
No, it's typically a configuration. So all the things which you see like AEP connector or Marketo connector or Salesforce, you can just provide the configuration of that data sources, and then we can get, like, let me show this one. So if you, let's say I select the AEP and then I select the cloud configuration, which connects to a specific AEP, and it gets me all the XTMs available in that schema. So it's just a configuration. Most of the time it's a configuration for out of the box connectors. But in some cases where the connector is not available, there you need to provide more, let's say, Swagger definition of that file, let's say REST API, right? Where you can just create a shares file and you can go ahead. That's how it creates. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Good.
Yeah, so let me start with the none-based, right? And this is the submission, right? So that was more about data schema, what data schema. And we can also do, as you mentioned, right, is it directional, unidirectional or bidirectional? This is bidirectional. So what should happen when the form is submitted? So we can pre-select it here itself, or we can just now ignore and let's go ahead and create. So let me go ahead and create the form. So again, I'm using the template directly, boilerplate. I have created one more just to have some more components included. So let's go ahead and.
What does WS stand for?
A workspace we have given as a name. It's just, yeah. So if you see now here, this is created a simple adaptive form. It does not has anything, right? Any fields. It's just name, because I haven't selected any fields from the schema. So I can, if I selected a schema, all the fields will be already pre-created form will be available. But to make it much interested, I wanted to show a different use case this time. Instead of just schema-based form, let's go ahead. So this is a simple things like add. I can just go ahead, and these are the components, right? Which are there available in the form block out of the box. And there are some of the custom which is coming from my own Git repo.
Yeah.
So let me go ahead and delete it, because as I mentioned, I don't want to do a basic form, but let's do a digitalization workflow. Let's say customers has a lot of PDF forms in the world as of now. Today also there are a lot of PDF forms. So I have taken one of them from internet. This is for visa application form, which is a typical 2 pages. This was 20 pages. I have taken this as a 2-page. So this is called, this is our forms experience builder. So this is what Arun was referring, which is an AI-based assistant. So let's just go ahead and let's select this, the same form, which is 2-pager. And let me click enter, and let me slash with it. So we started to provide some kind of help kind of thing, command specifying that what exactly intent is. So we have this kind of command. So if once I click enter, then we can see all the commands available. So let's say I want to add a form, right? So create a form using attached PDF.
And just to be clear, this is a PDF that you just downloaded off the internet. So that was probably
Yeah.
created using some Adobe software somewhere in the process, but you never spoke to the person who actually created the form. Right?
Yes, that's true. And it was actually 4 pages form, and I was able to convert all the 4 pages form. And let me just walk you through what are the form looks like. It has a different type of components, right? If you see, it has a text inputs, name alias,
Yep.
it has checkboxes, and it has some kind of grouping of the travel documents, which multiple can be selected, right? And then it also has some kind of part 2, part 3, some terms and condition, and finally date and signature.
Right.
So what does it does? Yeah, now it's ready. If you see here, what GenAI Experience Builder done here is, it took the form, it's tried to use its vision models and identify all the panels, in the sense what kind of containers we have, what are the fields, and it has able to create a plan for me, and I can just go through it, and then I can just go and apply. So this is more of giving a controls to authors, so that they can view the what is the form it is getting created. And if you see like that, the form is just ready. So you any form you have now digitalized and you want to content to be ready, this is the one step you have to do. And let's see the content structure.
I see there a couple of things that are labeled untitled field or untitled group. Is this something that I would have to fill in to make sure that that the data is stored in the right way, or how would I treat this?
Yeah, so I think you are referring to something called untitled field, right? So these are actually panels. We are trying to still work on it. So for example, some of the, if you see here, there is nothing called untitled. If you see, all of them have proper name. It's more of a plan which is getting generated wherever there is a panel. It just try to say, this is undefined or unknown panel. And some of the places there are text inputs, right? So it just for text, it shows, okay, untitled field. Usually we can enhance this to show that it is a text information. Yeah. So going back to this, now if you see, it's created nicely grouped also, right? I am able to exercise part 1, part 2, part 3. And I can go ahead and now let me show you what is the properties here, right? So again, this is very basic, right? Every field in AEM forms have certain fields, which of the control. So for example, here you can do basic, and you can add the validation rules from required to very large number of things like pattern, min, max, or you can also do custom validations also. So we'll get into that. And then some of the components, like for example, especially let's say checkbox group, right, which takes enums, and I can fetch this enums from a, let's say, API. We'll see going forward that. But we also have something called variant. So every component can also introduce a concept of variants, like this is the default, but let me change it and say that I want to use a card variant. So it's a simple card kind of view, which I can do a selection, right?
Okay.
So this is how my properties and looks like. But let's make it more interesting, right? So let me go and one more thing I just wanted to inform. So since these forms are being created by AI, so there are chances that maybe the component is not matching what user is intent. One of the example which I have found in this form is like NRC number, right? Maybe it could be a number field or it could be text field. But GenAI mostly tend to create as a text field so that user can create any value. But let's say in such cases, we have something called forms replace. So it allows you to easily replace inline this, like it has identified as text field, and I can just replace it with any of the number field. For example, in this case, if I feel number is important, then I can just say a number, right? So this is again a very useful tool which helps you in just converting inline instead of deleting and adding and moving it to the right position.
Okay. Would I also be able to do things like custom validation rules, right? So a lot of these ID numbers have checksums. So could I attach a function to make sure that only the allowed characters are in there, or that?
Yes. So that is where my next demo is. Maybe I will start with very simple, right? Let's say I want to show. So forms can have very simple rules like show and hide, to complex things like API integrations, or in between, like as you mentioned, right? Maybe have a custom validation in place. So let's start with this. Let's say I want to show NRCI number only if the Singapore citizen is selected.
Yep.
And for this, I don't need to write any the coding. So we have something called Visual Rule Editor, but let me show you an interesting thing again via Forms Experience Builder. So again, Experience Builder, as I shown here commands, we also have something called Create Rules. So I can just write a rule in a plain English format saying that show, and there is a concept of @, which is I think most of the people now familiar in ChatGPT. It is to represent or provide more context on specific, right? So @ shows me all the fields. Then I can say show NRCI number, right? Only when Singapore citizen is selected, else
Yeah.
hide it, right? So I can just create a rule in explain English language, and I can also use context, provide more context using @ to represent this is the field I'm referring, because there is a chances that different fields have, it may confused with the name. So this help, so again, it takes some time. It try to understand rule, and we have the rule here. So it able to understand, and it's saying that when Singapore citizen is changed and is selected true, then only it should be showing. So let me go ahead and create, and let's open it in the rule editor. So this is the rule editor I was referring. So is a visual rule editor. I can write such rules directly using the UI, but now we have created this rule using the experience builder.
Mhm.
And if you notice this is when it's changed, show this and hide this, right? It's as
Right.
simple as this. And now the interesting is, right, if you have seen the form also has zip code. I will come back to your question, right, where you want to do custom validation.
Mhm.
This is where it will come also. So let's say we have zip code, city, state, and I want to do a small integration with an API. Let's say this is the API available publicly. If I have a zip code,
Yep.
right, and then it should return me the state and city, and I want to integrate with this API. So how do we do this without a no code solution, right? So that is where we have create API integration tool. So I just copy the curl. I have already have the curl command of this. Usually you can fill up all the details one by one, or you can just simply import from the curl. And if you see, it filled most of the details like URL, details of the form, and input parameters, and output also we can provide. So we can just take a copy this, go back to my output, upload, give the sample JSON, and gets map me everything ready. But I have pre-created it already. So let me go and write a rule now to call this API. So what is the rule I want when? So this is where your validate question, right? Validate zip code using expression, and expression could be a function also. So we can write a simple JavaScript functions, right?
Yep.
And just call saying that, okay, validate using this function. But now let's go back to, they say when the zip code is changed, I want to call that API. So let me say invoke service, and it
Mhm.
will list all the services. So this is the service, and again I can edit here and see this is the same API we are hitting, right? And let me just close it. And what I want to do here, so country and API key I have already provided as the default values in my API integration definition. So zip code, right? So zip code, which is input to my API, and on success, what should be done? So this is like there can be a multiple statements, right? So this is how you write statement, set value of, let's say, state. I can just say it. And here I want to say payload, right? So event payload, the payload which I got. From that, I want to just select city, and let me add one more and say state city. Oh, okay. I think I mapped it wrongly. So it should be state here. State. And this should be from the payload. City. Yep. So that's it. My API integration is now ready. I have my input defined, output defined. I can just go ahead and save. Okay, there are some let's see. I think I no understood. Okay, so it's asking, do you want to define else? I don't want to define it. Just delete it, and then done. Yeah. Now this is a short summary. It shows what does it really means. So zip code is changed. Then invoke a API of the form data model with this URL, right? So
Mhm.
just let me close now. And let's go and try it out. So all without publish also we can try all these forms here directly in Universal Editor. So let me click on preview. So let's start with the first rule. If you see that field is hidden, and if I select this, yes, it's now working. Rules are as accepted. And let now fill the zip code. And I think it should. We can also add, yeah. So we have city and state already pre-filled.
Right.
And we can control, make it read only, make it editable. So the rule editor has a lot of functionalities, all the properties which you can think of changing on the form. It could be simple, disable, enable, change the error message, or change the title of the field. So all the properties of the field can be changed from the rule editor based on any kind of rules. And we have a lot of bunch of ways to trigger when it is changed, when it is initialized. So there are a lot of trigger points already available. So that's about the rule editor.
Okay.
And yeah, I think I skipped one of the part is like, let's say this form looks quite big, right? Maybe for digital experience, this not maybe useful. So let's say I want to make it more progressive form kind of experience. So how do we do that? So we have again components, specialized components for in the form like wizard, accordion. But let me use the AI, right? So I have already prompt, so I just no need to type it again. So I want to say use wizard, and here I'm not. If you interestingly see, I did not specify any details about at the rate. And the form has part 1, part 2 as a panels. I'm saying that okay, use all the parts. Then I just go ahead. Again, it will try to analyze the content structure. So the way it works is now all the forms, whether it is in edge delivery or in core components, we have something called headless form. So it creates a headless spec of the form, adaptive form. So on that, all GenAI aspects are working. So it able to identify that, okay, I need to create a wizard, and I will need to move this participant of applicant to step 1, means the panel created by the step 1. So let's go ahead and apply. And yep, and we can see the nice progress going on. And on the left side, we can see immediate reflections, and then we have it a wizard. Yeah, so that is easy. And this can be done via UI also. The only difference is you could have to do a lot of steps. You need to create first a wizard, drag and drop a wizard component, right? And then move all of them. So this is with one command, you have all these things coming up. And last related to UI is more on submission, right? So we couldn't able to, let's say, submit. Let's say I couldn't able to configure, or I want to change the form submission later. So what I can do here, this is called, again, we can open the wizard, right? And I can again select the submission, whether I can decide whether I want to send an email or I want to call an FDM. So FDM is again, most of the connectors we have out of the box, like Marketo, AEP, Azure Blob, SharePoint, but it's not easy to expand on all the connectors, right? So that is where we have concept of form data model. If you have a REST API definition in form of Swagger or OData, or you have web services SOAP definition, you can just provide that files and it will be able to give you the details. So that is where form data model means here. So again, this is the prefill which I was saying, right? So you can use the prefills out of the box using form data model, or you can write a custom prefill even in the submission. Let's say I don't want to use any of the out of the box submission. I just want to create my own submit. I want to use it. So it works for both submit and prefill. I can write my own. And at last, it's like showing thank you and error message on, let's say, what should happen on this. Should it redirect to some page? Should it just show a message? That is the things we can also configure. So that is much from forms authoring point of view, right? We are able to create a form with multiple aspects, rules, layout. And I think let's also see, there is one more, let's say, data source. We started with Salesforce, right? So there could be questions, right? So I started with PDF, but PDF, maybe the name, the bind ref which is there in my data Salesforce may not be expecting name. It may be expecting something else. So how do I do mapping between my fields? So that is where we have a concept of bind ref. So let me go to properties, and here is a bind ref. I can just go ahead and say, since I know the source I have selected as data Salesforce, I can just go and say, okay, map it to the name of contact or lead. And again, if some of the fields you see the tense, I think maybe some of the fields are not available in PDF or some other version. And okay, so if you have to go and add, then I can just select and add it. So that is again a data source. We can add it anytime. Okay. So this was authoring. Now let's say one of the important thing about forms is there are sites. This form may be required in multiple pages, right? How do we embed form, right? So let's say I've just taken a simple site. Again, I'm using Universal Editor, but it can be anything as of now. It could be a doc-based, it could be a dark alley, that is document authoring, or it could be a Universal Editor. And we have another block named embed adaptive form. So since now we are in Universal, okay, let me refresh. I think it should have been sessioned out. So let me go back here and let's say I want to add embedded adaptive form. I just select embedded adaptive form and I can go here, go to properties. I can it's like similar to how image components are working, right? I just wanted to say, okay, this is my form path from where I have to select. So this is again another form selector, which displays me all the forms available in my environment. I can just select here and this. So this again works across the solutions, right? So now we can see the form is available in this page. And otherwise I can go ahead and create form directly in this page itself using adaptive form block. This is what Arun was referring as a unified experience, right? You can just create a form inline wherever the site is. So so this is all about forms authoring. But I could like to also, since this there are a lot of audience who may be interested in how to create components and how does it even work, and what is the difference between creating a block and component, right? So to fix that, okay, sorry, I think this is, okay. So we have a customer, as Arun mentioned, we have from simple to very complex. So this is not exactly their form, but the representation of it looks like. So let's say a banking, if they have login, which all does the API integrations. And if you see, this is a nice like card selection. Usually cards comes from an API. It's not fixed set of cards, right? And based on the user profile they logged in. And if you see, this is a quite different component, right? It's not just radio selection. It's showing it as a card and making it as a radio. Choose any one of this card. So now I want to show how to build such kind of components, especially in case of edge delivery services, which is aligned to similar to what we do it in components. But let me showcase that. So what I did, okay, sorry, there are multiple screens. Sorry for that. I have to just find the right. Okay. I think this is where it went to this place. So just to demonstrate that form which I've shared, right? I have created a saying that, okay, I want some card, again, session timeout. Let me refresh. A simple form, right, which usually to represent that same use case, I have different type of cards, maybe corporate cards or personal cards. And based on that, I want to just show them here, right? And we have already pre-created rules and everything in this so that we can just focus on the component. So again, rule editor is launching. And let's see, whenever a card type changed, it's calling an API and getting the cards detail. So for save time, I have just already published it and run it as AEM up. Now this is the interesting, right? So let's see, I want to change the card choice, which is a radio, but I want a different view for that. So how do we start, right? So once you clone it, you do AEM up. All things, this component can be done in local environment, right? So we have created a CLI tool within which is available in, again, same boilerplate, just to help in setting the quick start files which are required. So let's say I want to create a component, and it's asking me for the component name. I would say card. And if you every form has to be some data capture experience, right? So these are the form fields already we have. So I want to extend the radio group, right? I want to have that experience of selecting one of many. So let me select this, and it's saying that, okay, this is the component name and base component. Go ahead and yes. So it's similar to how we create block, right? Block fold, but not just under blocks, but under the forms component. And there are 3 files. One is the JSON. This is specifically for universal editor, so that this component should be start reflecting in the universal editor add dialog. And this is where we have, right? I'm saying that this is the extension of radio group, and what should be the default values whenever a component is added. And it, again, a typical JS file with decorate, right? And then we have CSS file, empty CSS file. So what I did is I have already pre-created with this empty files. I wanted to show the flow. So let's do in this, right? So decorate method, if you see, and when I run it, interestingly, even though decorate method is empty, I still able to see the radio choice, right?
Yeah.
The reason it working is as it's extending, kind of every form field has a default rendition. So that is the default radio which is working. But I want to change the look and feel and change the view of it. So there are 3 different steps we perform usually in views. One is on components. First is view. Let's say I want to change the simple view. So let's say I have created a function which represents as a card, right? And takes an image also and shows the image path. Then what I will do is I'll just send, this is my, okay, I think one thing I missed here. So this is the default rendition which I was referring. And
Right.
then this field JSON. So what author has configured for that field? Maybe he has configured properties, validations, help content. All that details are available in field JSON. And this aligns to what we call it as adaptive form spec. So there is an adaptive form spec which describes how does the field look like. And I'll just hit and save here. Then I should, yeah, we can see the big cards. Let me just go ahead and add style. And I have already CSS written for my card so that it looks a bit better. So yes, I added this, and I have styling also. But interestingly, it's not just view in case of forms, right? Because we have able to write multiple rules. For example, if I change the corporate card types, it goes and calls an API, it fetches some extra data, which I want to use it in my view. How do I do that? And if you notice this, these are API calls, right? So consider it as like a model. So there is a adaptive form model which perform all of these actions, and it provides you ability to listen to that event. So whenever my API or whenever my form definition or field definition is changed, I want to redraw the form view, right? That's what we want. So the next step is subscribing. So subscribing to such events whenever my model is changed. So again, I'm getting a simple snapshot here. So whenever my model is changed, and especially I'm interested in change, and that too change of enum. So because that API is returning the number of
Where exactly is this subscribe function coming from that you?
It's coming from form. So it's part of those. Yeah.
Okay, so you're importing it. Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
So I don't want to handle all the change, listeners. I am only interested in enum, and whenever enum change, I want to re-render the cards, right? So now I have this code. Now if we change again, and right, we can see. So let me also show the inspect and network calls, right? So let me again change it to corporate. Then I have an API which returns me all the. Okay, not this one. Right. Yeah. So it returns reward points, some description, image. So all of this, I'm able to use it in my custom component. So that is how we do this subscribing. But there is an interesting thing, right? Let's say that was more of what rules executes, and I want to listen and update my view. But there could be bi-directional again. Something I have written my custom component. Maybe I have introduced custom things, and I want to update the model based on my changes. Let's say I have select this. Instead of sharing as entire object, I want to just say that, okay, I want to share, set the model as reward of cards. I want to set this data.
Yeah.
Right. So again, you can just add listener. This is, I think, simple, right? Whenever any changes happens, and I want to communicate back to my model. So again, model has APIs where I can just provide value, or I can set any other details. So now let's see if I go here and let's say changes, select this, and it's now saying that, okay, the data which it will go is only the selected choice. I think this is okay. I think first time selection is losing. So, but yeah. So this is how we write components. So again, just to summarize, it's 3 steps. Create a view using your default rendition and form definition. If you want dynamism rules, you subscribe for the listeners and update it. And if you want to put data back onto model on specific changes, you can just set it back. So yeah.
Why do we pass the parent element? Could I just go to field diff.parent element, or is there some magic in there?
So we have seen like we have a containers also, like accordion, right, or wizard, where sometimes it requires to know about the parent. Again, this is something also can be fetched from the field dev, like actual field information. You can iterate and go it, but just to specify who is the immediate parent in the panel.
Okay.
And the form ID, I think this is also very interesting because it says EDS page, right? There can be multiple forms in the same page. Let's say maybe a simple form for lead generation and maybe a complex form at the bottom of the page, or maybe some small page forms available. So which form I want to be interested in? So I can just subscribe to that particular form. This is again all kind of flexibility which we provide.
Okay.
Varun, I think if you are here, can you put also the documentation of adaptive form spec, which aligns to how the JSONs look files? Okay, that was more about component. Now let me just switch to styling. I think it's very clear there is nothing much in the styling. In this case, if you see, this is a simple card choice, but we have few recommendation. How do we create a theme, right? So in form.css, this has been evolving, and we are trying to reduce also along with making it flexible. For example, if you want to change the theme, button themes, or error colors, you can use this all variables which top available in form.cs. But let's say someone wants to just make it. So this is a document we have for styling, where all the best practices. We don't want to create a Lars, if you remember, we wanted to initially go with BEM structure, but you provided the feedback to have it minimal kind of DOM model, right? And have minimum selectors. So I think that input really helped us. So we were able to create a small set of structure for each field, defining how does each field looks like. And then we have also introduced as selectors. So for example, if you want to style any kind of let's say a number input, you can always use the selector number -wrapper that will applies for all the numbers. Right. Or if you get email, it is the same. And there are cases for the customer where want to say that I want to style a specific field. Maybe there are 2 number input fields, but I want to have a age field with a different styling. So they don't need to recreate a component for this. They can just use the selector field - whatever the name was provided, the name which we there in the field, and use this selector and able to create use the styling. So that's about styling. Yeah. And there is a last thing, I think, because this is what the new way of doing things going on. I think Arun also touched upon. Now we completed authoring, development. How does the development looks like? But this is the called conversational forms, right? Or Arun was referring is where the users are. So nowadays, maybe people want to fill the form via conversation. It could be a WhatsApp. It could be any text-based application, right? So chat-based applications. So what we do create is, whenever you create a form in Universal Editor, we create a headful rendition, right? Or actually, we call I should say it's always headless. And if you see form blocks, listen to that headless definition and create. This is a perfect example of form block. So on top of that, we have introduced a conversation APIs. So what does it help in? So just to demonstrate how does conversation API works. So this is a simple form again, which has personal information and investment details. And let's say a customer usually have their own chatbots. So we don't provide any UI for that. It's more focused on APIs. So two things I want to demonstrate. So this is, consider it as left side as a chatbot, and right side we just showing the form so that we can understand what exactly happening. So in multi-model, you can fill the form using simple, let's say the one which I was giving example, right? ITR form. It was quite a big form, but in India we have something called Form 16, which has all the details. You provide the Form 16,
Yeah.
most of the data can be pre-filled. So in similar fashion, let's say I have a driving license, right? And I just provided this. Okay, to enter and just enter my document, right? And it uses again the vision model, identifies what of these fields are mapped to what are the forms, identify the mapping and everything, and use the extra knowledge of form, and it will try to fill the form for me. So now, yeah, here we have. So you have user details, date of birth, and address.
Right.
And if you see, interestingly,
Got it. Because the driver's license doesn't have the phone number, we
Yes.
still have to
Yes.
provide. Got it.
Yes. So if you see, even it will just think what should be the next required field, which is phone number. So I can just, so this is how the API, conversational API is working. It's just to start a conversation with selected form, you can pre-fill from a document, and you can identify the next field. So let me just give some number and all the validations which we defined on the field rules will continue to work. So if you see, it's able to ask, and this conversational chat has again all the API provides all the details. For example, it's asking for the next, which is again a drop down, right?
Yeah.
So users should have that capability. So we have written a simple UI on that to show all the list of options, and I can just see selected. And yeah, I think pretty much covers the conversational flow. I can just select and see it's happening on right side, and I can say terms and condition. I can simply say yes or no and just say no, yes. And finally, I can submit the form with some inputs. I can give a friendly message saying, could you like to submit? And yes, say yes, then can also submit, or I can just preview the form in browser and then decide to submit. So I can go and just submit the form. So this is a conversational form. This is the only part which is available in early access. Remaining all the things, this conversational form and forms experience builder, these are the only two parts which are right now in early access. But all other features which we have seen till now are available in new release, latest release which we had, that is August released.
Fantastic.
So,
and
yeah.
And I've been reminded that we had live questions coming in through YouTube chat. So let's see if they magically are going to appear on the screen. And on top of that, let's hope that Arun magically reappears in case there are questions for him. Okay.
Oh, we have the first question.
So the first question is, I'm a beginner in AEM and I'm currently integrating the AEM Commerce boilerplate for commerce. So how would you combine forms with commerce? Is that just a matter of combining the right folders from both of the boilerplates, or is there more to it?
Yeah, so at the forms level, I've answered that question, Lars. I've been answering questions on the comment section.
Yep.
But any REST endpoint can be integrated with AEM Forms for lookup, as Vijay demonstrated, right? For lookup of data, or like in out-of-stock products, when let's say a product ID is entered, you can call an API to populate a field, or you can also submit to any kind of commerce backend using APIs. So we don't have an out-of-the-box connector yet. Yeah,
But
so that's the short
yeah.
answer.
But if you're able to connect to REST APIs, right, you can probably just formulate the right GraphQL query and then use that as an endpoint.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right.
Excellent.
And if they are using commerce boilerplate, and I think the starting step which I shared, right, you just need form block, and then
Right.
the magic will happen. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Do we have another question? So is it possible to create multiple forms at the same time? There's somebody, Julian has more than 100 simple PDF forms and wants them.
That is something we support with the automated forms conversion service, which is a traditional conversion service based on machine learning. The new GenAI based service doesn't support multiple form conversion yet, but it's on a roadmap.
Okay.
But
the idea would be to create a
thanks.
folder and then run it on the folder.
So at this time, you have to use some agentic browser like Perplexity Comet to do the clicking for you.
Yeah, maybe that can be used to iterate over multiple forms, but yeah, we haven't experimented with that yet.
Yep. Okay. So next, Vibes is asking, will you be covering document authoring also for form creation?
I think it may be Darkly. I think they are asking, can we create forms in Darkly? Assuming that could be the question. Right now, as I demonstrate, like if we can create in forms in Universal Editor, and you can just embed that and use it in document or Darkly or document authoring.
Right.
And right now, there is no option to create directly in document authoring, and we are looking onto it as
Excellent.
we see the way we work at Lars, right? Again, based on the customer requires, and if we see multiple customers requesting, then we should start it.
So we've heard this. This is going into Arun's backlog. He's going to say, Vibes asked for this, so we are going to build it, and then you're going to reappear here on the channel.
We have a customer 0.
Excellent. Oh, and there's also an email address, aem-forms-ea for early access @adobe.com if you're interested in working with us on early access.
And I think we have another question.
You can do that using workflow steps. If you want to send it to, like, each step of the workflow can be sending to a different destination, like a CRM or a AP, as you mentioned, Eric. That's possible.
Okay. Yeah. And hi, Eric. Channel regular, but our new setup doesn't allow you to join the stage. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, but he will talk next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, close to the hour.
I think we are close to the hour, which means Dominic has just to fill out one more form field, which is actually it's 2 form fields. Form field number 1 is a date dropdown, which is when are we going to talk next?
September 18th.
September 18th, and that is by my calculation in 2 weeks, correct?
No, it's next week. It's next week. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's why I said Eric will be on stage. Eric will be on stage next week because he will do a great customer case about Shredded, because this is now live on DA. So we also talked about document authoring today. So you can see it the next week with Eric, and he will be the one on stage. I'm really looking forward to it. I hope you liked how we presented us today. We will try it out again. I really like it. Thank you very much. It was also a great presentation, Lars.
Yeah. Well, thanks everyone for joining us today. I can't see how many people there are on YouTube right now, but Ron can give me the thumbs up or the thumbs down.
All good. Hey, Arun, thanks.
And most of all, I would like to thank our presenters today for showing something new and exciting. Really interesting to see how forms cannot just be filled out with GenAI. but also created, and how we are able to solve a lot of the quite tedious steps, right? And as a forms consumer, I'm only concerned with how tedious it is to fill out some forms, but creating all of these forms and being able to set up complex rules, I think is a fantastic addition, and I'm excited to hear from customers who are using it.
All right. Thank you, guys. And
Thanks, everyone.
with that, we will end. We'll see you next week on the 18th.
See you next week.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.